doing? Good Sunday evening and happy Memorial Day. Coming peace in the Middle East now that Iran has capitulated to all of Trump's demands. Yes, everybody thought he was going to destroy the world, but instead he's saving it. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Intuitive Insights and Tarot with me. I am Scott A. Yates, and I'm happy to be here. Just noticed something on my microphone. It's got a button here. I want to see, does this now, did that turn off the sound or just the light? Oh, it turned off the light. Okay. I didn't know how to turn off that light. I didn't like it. I like the having just the regular black microphone. I don't look like I'm a DJ in a disco club. So how's everybody doing out there? Is anybody listening? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you're out there. How's everybody feeling? I'm feeling great myself. Thanks for asking. However, I'd feel a lot better if I knew somebody was out. Sandy's there. Are you working tonight, Sandy? Checking my feed here, make sure it looks okay. You're home. Nice. Well, let's see here. Wow. Checking the analytics and it says I've got 0 views. Now it says there are 2 people watching. Well, I'm just going to sit here and chit chat for a little bit until we get some more people coming on. I am going to be talking about the aliens that they're talking about. I know I put aliens in quotes because I know that as Honey has told us, they don't like to be called aliens. They're extraterrestrials. And hey, hello, Deborah from Michigan. Thanks for saying hi. But isn't it amazing that here we are, 2026, and they're talking about these 4 alien species in mainstream news. So for all the people who say, I'll believe it when they put it in the news, well, there you go. The 4 that they're talking about, and by the way, there are many more. But the 4 that they are talking about that I have show you a picture of them. For those of you who've never looked into the aliens before and you don't know anything about their species, let me share my screen here. So I'm gonna gotta make that smaller. Oops, didn't want to make it that small. See this? So they're talking about the mantids, the grays. Now everybody's heard of the grays. These are the small gray aliens that are in so many movies and stories. Then there's the reptilians, the ones that some people think are able to shapeshift and hide among us, and the Nordics. And these are supposedly Pleiadians as well. And I think Valiant Thor was supposed to be one of the Nordics. Right, so I'm going to be I'm going to actually read the news or article that's going around mainstream news. I'm going to read it to you a little, not the whole thing. I'm just going to read little excerpts to you. Um, and then I'm going to do a reading using my cards to find out maybe what their intentions are. Not if they're real, and not if we've really been interacting with them, but um, try to get a feed on who they're with, what are their intentions for the human race, things like that. And what happened to my chat box? Let's put chat back up. So I can't remember who it was, KG Taylor, um, that said of all the alien species, only 8% of them are bad, the bad ones. And then among them, you have to remember there are variations within groups, just like not all people are bad. I don't think, like, we all think that the reptilians are the bad guys, but I think there are good reptilians as well. And by the way, um, I've heard people point out that extraordinary claims, and it is an extraordinary claim that there's life on Earth that has found a way to get here and has been visiting us for thousands of years. But a claim like that requires extraordinary proof. And I do agree with that. So even though I have faith, and this is where the word believe comes. Um, I believe that they are here. I have seen some things that I consider UFOs that I can't explain. Well, I believe one of my sightings was a TR3B, but I think the giant triangle that I saw floating above my, not above my house, but is above the Chetty. If you look at my landing page on YouTube, that Chetty, that pyramid looking thing that you see there, that's an ancient site, an ancient holy site. And that's where this big triangle was hiding in the clouds right above it. I've got video of it. Everybody agrees that there's definitely a triangle there in the clouds. And as I was watching, it actually revealed a part of it to me. I felt like it was answering my request telepathically that I was sending. I said, if you're a true ET ship, will you show yourself to me? And a part of the peak of the triangle cleared up, and I could see a slate gray surface behind the through the clouds. Oh wow! Sandy says, "Okay, let me pause and read this for a minute." Someone that I know was taken by mantids or mantis, and when she woke up, she had a triangle implanted, like with laser dots, over her abdomen. The mantis apologized to her. She's older. She went to the doctor. They just did a knew, and doctor had no clue and said she was the third one today like that. Holy cow! That was in 2012, I think. So it's funny that you mentioned the Mantids, and it's funny that you mentioned that they apologized to her because, as scary as they look, they're supposed to be one of the good guys as well. That they have good intentions for the human race. Oh, they just got a new crop circle over in Wiltshire. Don't you know that that's just old men with planks? Yeah, right. Um, yeah, so I just want to check and see if we've got a few more people now watching. Um, but I wonder what Michael A. Brown is thinking right now. Michael Brown is my cousin, and it was probably around. See, we're in 2016. It must have been somewhere around 2012, around that time period, maybe shortly after 2013 or 14. It was over 10 years ago, and I was talking to him. I was like a Skype call or something, and that was a time that was like the Wild West days for YouTube, and you could find so many crazy conspiracy theories there, and it seemed like every day I was finding something new about whether it was HARP doing weather modification or whatever. But one of the topics was reptilians. All these videos of people shapeshifting, their eyes changing, glitch happening during the video, and you could like see their real self coming through. And I'd done a deep dive into it at the time, and I'm not easily convinced of things. I'm a skeptic actually. I need a lot of evidence to before I believe something. And I don't remember what it was exactly, but I started leaning towards the idea that this was real, that this was really happening, and it was blowing my mind that there really could be something like this happening. And I wasn't 100% convinced. And I always say you should never be 100% certain of anything. But I was just toying with the idea, and I thought it would make a fun conversation with my cousin. And so I said, "Hey, have you looked into this story of reptilians, shape-shifting reptilians at all?" And he scoffed and said no. And I said, "You know what, man? I think it could possibly be real." And he began to argue with me, and I tried showing him something, and he, of course, didn't want to see it. And he the more we talked about it, the angrier he got. Like he was so angry that I could possibly believe in something that was so crazy. And he used that term that was going around back then, cray cray, you cray cray, which just annoyed the piss out of me. It was, and it got so heated to where we just couldn't talk anymore. We couldn't have a conversation. And we were calling each other names, and I ended up just blocking him, or he blocked me. I can't remember which happened first. And basically just lost contact totally. And this was heartbreaking for me because I loved my cousin. We had a wonderful childhood growing up. He was always my wingman. Uh, so I wonder what he's thinking now. And I wouldn't, I don't want to gloat. And I've always said when disclosure happens and we find out about the underground dumbs and the P PDOs, doing things to children underground, and eating babies and drinking blood and all this stuff, which I really don't like talking about these things. It's just too dark for me. But we're not here to gloat over those things. But I wonder what he's thinking now when he reads a news article like the one I'm about to read for you. I wonder if he's well, I know he's never going to reach out to apologize. Um, in fact, when I went home last year, he knew very well, even though I had no contact with him. Um, he knew I was going to be back home, and he lived on the other side of the state, Florida, in Tampa area. It's a 3 hour drive. Um, he knew where I was going to be. I was there for a month, and he never made one effort, not even to call me, much less get in a car and drive over and visit me and bury the hatchet and go back to being loving cousins again. Um, then finally, a few days before I was meant to leave, come back home to Thailand, and I asked my mom and my sister. I said, "Did Mike know that I was here?" She's like, "Yeah, he knew." And he didn't come to visit me. I said, "Hey, you have his phone number?" And so I got his cell phone number, and I gave him a call. And surprisingly, he's like, "Oh, hey, Scott, so good to hear from you again." You know, acting like all happy to hear from me. And and I said, "Hey, we should talk again." I said, and then I meant it as a joke, but looking back, I guess it kind of may have sounded like I was rubbing his face in it. I said, "Well, we should talk again now that I've been proven right about everything that I ever said," which of course I haven't. I haven't been proven right about everything I ever said, but I know it's coming out, and this was a year ago, so they hadn't started the even well, there had been the hearings in Congress a couple of years earlier where they talked about there being biologics and alien spacecraft and things like that. Um, but I could tell by his reaction on the phone that he wasn't happy to hear me say that. Um, and I did have intentions of trying to reconnect with him, even if it was just online. But then after I hung up with him, and I said, "Hey, let's unblock each other on on Messenger, Facebook, or whatever." And then I hung up. We hung up, and I started thinking about it. I said, "You know what? That asshole knew that I was here, and he didn't make one effort to try to contact me. In fact, I'm the one who had to call him. So screw him. We're just going to end up fighting about something else because the Earth's not a spinning globe. And I know if I tell him that again, he's going to spiral out of control because he's obviously somebody who can't handle the truth." So, anyways, that's all. I just want to say about that story and about how I lost family, friends over my belief that reptilians were real over 10 years ago. I became convinced of it. And now we might have solid evidence. And they may have some bodies on ice that they're going to release. They may have some ships that they're going to release. And that is what it's going to take for the hardest of skeptics, people who haven't seen big triangles like me or don't have the ability to let their imaginations go wild and think of the possibilities that could be. Yes, forgiveness is key, but I'm not going to forgive somebody who refuses to acknowledge that they were ever wrong, that can't humble themselves to say, "Hey, I thought I knew something about this and I was wrong." Like 15 years ago, Was it that long ago? No, sorry, in 2015, when after hours and hours and hours online trying to find solid evidence that the Earth was a spinning globe 25,000 miles in circumference, and I finally gave up. I couldn't do it. I had to admit that I was wrong about the Earth being a spinning globe and the trip to the moon that we took and Apollo and all that. I was wrong. I believed it all. I don't have my coffee here. I had a coffee. Anyhow, so Sandy blocked her cousin on Facebook because she's stupid. I don't do stupid. Yeah. Well, why do you think I live alone and I have no friends, Sandy? uh, however, I used to be really bad about calling people stupid and idiots. Idiot used to be one of my favorite terms for everybody, and that's it's just not nice. And you know, we people tend to accept the reality that's presented to them. And you know what? You really can't blame them for that. Uh, who the people we should blame are the ones who created the lies and taught these lies in universities and schools and you know to our fathers and grandfathers and us and those are the ones we should be angry with, not to the people who simply trust authority. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read this article to you. And before I do that, I got to remember to give you guys some information about how to contact me if you would like a private reading with me. I am still available. Hold that. Still have a website that I pay for every month, even though it's not getting much use. Although I have picked up a couple more clients, I must say. In fact, I got one today. She's not a new client. I've met her 3 times in the past. Victoria. Victoria, if you're listening to this, I'll see you tomorrow around this time. And thank you very much for the booking. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Oh, shucks. Where did it go? Yes. So if you've never had a booking with me before and you'd like to give it a shot, you can find me here. Oh, and I should put it in. Let me put it in the chat real quick. Yeah, you're really hard navigating. There we go. All right, so here's a link to my website, and Darian's. All right, so if you come over to my website, and if you've never had a reading before and you'd like to hear what other people say, check out these client testimonials. But when you're ready to book, my usual fee is $110. I came up with that fee number because I saw that a lot of other people, that's what they were charging. People you may know, like Ashley Sage or a few others. She's friends with Janine Morajo. However, I don't want anybody out there who needs my help to not be able to afford it. So I'm happy to accept whatever you can afford. And I mean really whatever. Um, Now, if you use something like Buy Me a Coffee, I would recommend at least $10 because by the time I get it to me, they've taken their bit and it's down to like $7. So if you only buy one coffee, then I end up getting like $3. And I mean that you should really try to make it fair for me. So if you can't afford at least $10, then maybe wait till you have more money. Anyway, oh yeah. So where was I? Yeah. So come over to my website. You click here, okay, and this will take you to my booking site. It's a separate page, and you'll see here I've got a booking for this is my time, and you'll see all the dates and times will appear in your local time. So if you choose the date and time you want, so if you're in the East Coast of the US, 8:30 a.m. would be 9:30 p.m. your time. Now, if you don't see a time here that you are able to get to, then email me and maybe we can negotiate another time. Maybe I can wake up early for you or stay up late. Okay, and then okay, and then after you've booked at the time that you want. You can come over. Now, I would prefer that you use PayPal or Cash App. That's if you're in the United States or Zelle. You could send it to me by Zelle. But if you don't have either of these, you could use Buy Me a Coffee. I try not to use Buy Me a Coffee because, like I said, they take a fee and there's a process I have to go through to get paid from Buy Me a Coffee. So I prefer the other two. All right, and there you have it. Okay. Now let's see what are they saying in the mainstream news about these four species. Let me come over here and read the article. So I'm just going to read a little bit of it. So this article was on New York Post. I go ahead and share my screen. Smaller. All right. Assign. Four alien species have been pulled from crashed UFOs, ex-government researchers claim. Researcher claims. So I guess there's one ex-government researcher who's making this claim. The U.S. had covered four distinct species of extraterrestrial life from crashed UFOs. A former CIA-funded government researcher sensationally claimed this week. Now, it's funny that they say that these are from crashed UFOs. I thought these were like they were in contact with, like, for example, Valiant Thor, who was supposed to be a Nordic. He came and like had meetings with presidents. There are rumors about the government having some type of uh, deal with the Greys, where they basically duped the United States into allowing the Greys to abduct a certain number of people. And anyways, and I think the Greys were supposedly in the Roswell crash, but I didn't know that they had like shot down reptilians and had them captured or something. Anyways, this guy's name is Dr. Hal Puthoff, former Advanced Aerospace Weapons Systems Applications Program advisor and CIA-funded researcher. He made the claim alongside Age of Disclosure director Dan Farah on Steve Bartlett's The Diary of a CEO podcast. So Dan Farah is the one who did Age of Disclosure. I got confused. I thought it was that Corey Good guy who's been discredited and is supposedly a horrible person. All right, so but I don't really follow the stuff too closely because you got to take it all with a grain of salt. There's definitely going to be some disinformation in here, but the fact that it's being talked about on mainstream news, that's what blows me up. The Stanford-trained quantum physicist did not detail the supposed alien species, but his longtime collaborator. Okay, so he's not saying these four species, but this other guy did. Dr. Eric Davis claimed last year that Greys, Nordics, insectoids, and reptilians are the names of the biological forms pulled from the wreckage of downed crash UFOs. And then I know there's the whole joke of skeptics like, oh, yeah, they were able to cross the universe to get here, but then we shot them down. Well, we have good guys helping us too. That's why I don't think the Nordics were shot down. The Palladians, because they were helping us. Maybe they shot down the reptilians. Each alien species has two arms, two legs, and a humanoid appearance. No, actually, the Mantids have like four arms, four, because they have these two little mantis arms in front. If you look at the picture. Um, Okay, and then they go on to describe. So I'm not going to. I just wanted to show you that this is a real thing. That this came out, I guess, last week in the New York Post, and you know how mainstream media is. If it's in the New York Post, that means it's on CNN the same way. Everything else. Yeah. And I've never seen the reptilians depicted as wearing these space suits before. I thought they were just like naked in their scaly form. Oops. Look in this picture. Just want to look at this picture again. Yeah, so these mantids, um, these are supposed to be really nice guys, but you notice they have these appendages here, like a praying mantis has. That if I woke up and one of these things was leaning over me in my bed, it would scare the living hell out of me. But supposedly they're telepathic, and they're very compassionate, kind. And I'm not sure what they did to your friend, Sandy, but maybe it was for her benefit. Maybe they helped her in some way, or maybe they were doing something that would help the human race in general. Because, birth rates are down right now. But by the way, I read a book in 2000 that was about 2012 and the Mayan prophecy. And one of the things that was in that book was that human birth rates were going to be declining after 2012. And that's one of the things that was right in that book. Um, okay, and then these grays. Now, some people think that the grays could be humanoids. Humans from the future. Like in this picture. By the way, this is my Telegram channel. Oh, I should talk a little bit about that star UFO too, because I did a reading on this one. So there's been some recent talk that these, which resemble the grays, except for their eyes look more human. They have whites to them. In fact, they look more human in many ways. And I don't even know if these photos have any authenticity to them at all. Okay. But these are the photos that have been going around about the P-47s and P-52s, which is supposedly P stands for present and 47,000 years in the future, and present 52,000 years in the future. They're us from the future, and this is what we're going to look like in 47,000, 52,000 years. And that there's some kind of coming catastrophe in our time coming soon, that they survived, and this is what they look like now. And some people say, well, maybe those black things in their eyes are like contact lenses to protect their eyes because they've been living underground for so long. Or they're totally separate. In other words, these are not the grays that we've been seeing at all, but they are time travelers and they've just been coming here and checking on us. And then the grays are something else. And then what people say the grays are they actually were non-biological automatons. In other words, they were created. Back to that. The Greys were created by the Reptilians to be basically to do their dirty work. So the Reptilians were wanting humans for their experiments. And they would send out the Greys to get them. And then there's this whole story about that's, by the way, been talked about openly in Congress about the hybridization of humans with Greys, maybe to create a new species of extraterrestrials that are adapted to Earth's environment. Yeah. So there's so much we don't know, and I'm not sure we're ever going to know. So, um, and then there's this other idea that we're being set up for the fake alien invasion. That because this is all coming from the Department of War, right? Excuse me. Tissue here. So I think most of the people listening here believe that the the Earth is being guided by the good aliens, extraterrestrials. I know they don't like to be called aliens, like the Pleiadians, and then there's many more, and I don't know. I'm not an expert on it. But I'm wondering, what do you guys think about all this? What do you think about this being in mainstream news now? I lost the chat again. And oh gosh, the chat window popped out. Then I guess I closed it. I lost it. There it is. Like Serina magic. I used to call people idiots. Still do sometimes, but usually politicians. I just don't call them idiots to their face anymore, or when there's other people around. When I'm alone in private, I use that's my favorite word, idiots. Retard. I'm so happy to hear that the word retard is coming back. You know, for a long time you get canceled if you use the word retard. I love that word. Praying mantis is what the insect is called because what you just said. Yeah, yep, that's right. Um, Grays work. Yeah, gray. The Grays work for another race. Yeah. Um, well, the Grays are supposed to be from Zeta Reticuli. Um, and they are under the thumbs of the reptilians. That's the way I heard it. And actually, they were created by the reptilians. Maybe we're only supposed to see the ones that we come from. Sure, what you mean by that. When did I start this? I started at 8 o'clock, so it's already been 15 minutes. Uh, right. Now I'm going to be switching over to members only soon, and I'm going to pull some cards on these four species and see if I get maybe some insight on them. But before I do, first off, I'd like to know what you guys think about this going mainstream, and are where are you on your belief versus skepticism? Because skepticism is good. You should have some skepticism. Um, when it becomes cynicism, to where you'll doesn't matter, you won't believe anything, even if they show you a dead body, you'll say, "Oh, that's just a mannequin," or if they show you a spaceship, they'll say, "Oh, that's fake." Or there's some people who are never going to believe because they believe the science that we can't get to other stars because they're so far away and they can't get to us and blah 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 bullshit, right? Um, I mean, I'm like 99% that it's all true. I would be shocked if it was proven to be untrue. Like if they showed us how they faked it, all the background and everything, that it was just us all along. Yeah, when the ads come on, they block what I'm saying. I missed you said, but it's just the gist of it. Yeah, I'm sorry about the ads, but need to try to make some money. Uh, I don't get ads when I watch YouTube because I pay the $5 a month for the membership, and to me, it's worth it because I absolutely hate commercials. Uh, I haven't had to watch commercials in 20 years since I've been here till recently. Then I skipped them, but yeah, if you want commercial free, you can pay the membership, and then when you watch me, if you're a member, I actually get paid more money. Membership viewers, not I mean I don't mean my membership. If you are a paid subscriber to YouTube, it's like $5 a month. Um, then when anybody who's a paid YouTube subscriber, when they watch me, one thing it's commercial free for them, and another thing, I get more money. Yeah, there should be like a delay. It should like pause what I'm saying and then come back in a delay or something like that. But I don't know. Anyways, sorry. I'm sorry about the ads, and I'll admit to you, I have the frequency cranked up quite a bit. Um, I'm running a little short this month on my revenue to hit my $100 threshold because I didn't do a show. Well, the show I did a couple of weeks ago didn't earn any money, and I took it off because it was not a good time for me. So, and I know if you got this blue dot after your name, like Sandy does, or I don't see anybody else with a blue dot. You're also a member. Um, you've joined my membership. You're one of the intuitive families, and so uh, you're supporting me that way. However, and anybody out there, if you have a question, and I want to do this part real quick, I want to give anybody who's listening right now an opportunity to ask me a question for the cards. And if you could do like a small super chat to help me be sure that I reach my goal of $100 this month so that I can draw a paycheck from YouTube, that would be greatly appreciated. I tell you what, I'm going to take a short break as I have to go to the men's room. And when I return, I want to see some members. Yes, Serina's a member. I want to see some questions. Like I said, you don't have to do the super chat. It would be nice. But give me a question. Maybe you want to know what your boss has got in mind for you, or what's going on with your family members. If you have a question about them, maybe that's a good one. Maybe I'll do a reading on my cousin. What is he thinking? I'm going to do that when I come back. What is Mike Brown thinking about the aliens that are being talked about in mainstream media? I want to do that when I get back. So don't go away. Somebody put in the chat that I'll be right back. And then I'm going to take some questions from the audience. Then I'm going to switch over to members only and do readings on the 4 species of aliens that we're talking about today. Be right back. and I was able to retrieve my coffee. It wasn't quite finished yet. Right. Thank you for letting people know our short break, Sandy. Yeah. So, like I said, I have this cousin, Michael A. Brown. And in fact, not that it's not my intention to dox him. However, you search on Facebook for a Michael A. Brown who's in Tampa and send him a friend request. And if he accepts, send him a message. Say, hey, I'm a friend of Scott Yates. He would like to know what you think about the alien disclosure that's happening on mainstream news right now. That would be very funny. Oh, you can't see my cards. Okay. And so and I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a if any of you like Sandy, you have a cousin that you don't talk to anymore because of this stuff. If you guys have a family member or friend that you're no longer friends with or you can't talk to anymore because they thought you were crazy for believing that reptilians existed, it's like I did, then pop their name in the chat and I'll do a reading and see what they think about what's going on. Okay, now let me open this up so you can see my cards. There we go. Let me make sure you guys can see that, right? You see my hand here where my cards are? My microphone in that place. Serina, all right, great. This is a great idea. Cody Brown Johnson. Okay, keep the names coming. This one is my cousin, Michael A. Brown. Living in Clearwater, I think, or a place like that, over there in near Tampa. So, is he being humble? What's he thinking about this disclosure? Or is he seeing, oh, that's the Three of Pentacles? That's someone who's open to seeing information. Oh, and an Ace of Pentacles could be a new way of thinking. The Eight of Cups. He was lost in the wilderness in the past, like burying his head in under a rock because he didn't want to hear this stuff. Oh, he's not happy about it. He's in fact he's angry. I don't know if he's angry at me or he's angry because this information is coming out. Well, that's a good sign. He's looks like he's having a change of heart. Death. That I mean, when you get a death card like um, this is a complete and the fool actually admitting that he was to himself at least that he was a fool for not listening and trying not to let it worry. He may stay up at nights thinking about this, and he's trying to put on a brave face for the world. So this is good news. It kind of makes me want to reach out to him actually, um, because what he considers to be more substantial evidence because it's on mainstream media. That's what the Ace of Pentacles is. It's actually something like the disclosure that's being done by uh, war.gov, which, by the way, is really awful. I mean, I'm not going to be happy until they actually wheel out a UFO, one of the spacecraft that they have in S4. Which if you don't know, that's watch the Bob Lazar movie about S4 where they keep this stuff. So good for you, Mike. But he's angry. But who's he angry with? He can't be angry at me. He must be, or he's just, there's a lot of passion. And that would, every time we talk, he just would end up screaming at me. No, he's angry at himself for not listening to his higher self, for not being able to have that intuitive connection with spirit. He doesn't have that. And but no, I don't think he's angry at me, not anymore. So that's interesting. Okay. So I wasn't expecting this to do this, but I think it's a cool idea. Oh, MJ Squirrel saying, "Hi Scott, hi Sandy." I I was trying to figure out why the names are. Yeah. Okay, and let me see. Sandy says, "What are the names?" Funny that your cousin's maiden name is Brown as well. That's funny. So where did I? Greetings from Oklahoma, bro. Oh, I'm gonna be giving away more memberships, but I'm gonna do it at the end of the month. Okay, here, MJ Squirrel. Oh no, she's saying hi to Serena. Oh, okay. I thought that was a name for the place. But Sandy says Jody Brown Johnson. Oh, wait a second. Natty O has a question. Hi, Scott. So I know finally getting the alien disclosure on mainstream important and validated. Would this also be a distraction? Something we should be aware of, right? Probably. I mean, everything's a distraction, really. Not so much a distraction. I think it's trying to control the narrative. So I got to talk about this for. Um, I think that the alliance, whatever you want to call it, is in control of everything that's going on right. Um, I think that the now I got somebody really had a problem with me saying this before, and I'm going to try to clarify this. You know that eye that's at the top of the pyramid on the dollar bill, the all-seeing eye, that represents the archons, the non-human, multi-dimensional extraterrestrials that have been manipulating humanity for thousands of years, going back to the Sumerians and the Anunnaki. Um, and then under them, you have these hierarchies. So, like the reptilians would be underneath them, and and so on. But um, the true holders of all the power, the ones who've been controlling everything, manipulating the human race, maybe even our DNA and everything else, were the Anunnaki. And they portrayed themselves as creator gods in the Bible. They convinced humans that they were the gods of this world, and they created money to help control population. They created wars to create loosh that they feed off of, and they're just they could even be demonic. So you hear a lot of talk now about them being demons, like the Nephilim and things like that, and that may be true, but I do believe that they have been decapitated. That the the very top of the pyramid, the one that is the unseen hand that's been controlling everything across time and dimensions, has been eliminated. Um, I believe it happened around the same time that the Georgia Guidestones were destroyed, which was a couple years ago. And so now what we're dealing with are the mortal aspects, the mortal puppets that have been under the thumb of the archons and being controlled by them. They're now doing their best to hold on to power in any way possible. Um, and there may be a few archons left that are being rounded up and taken care of. And I do believe that that star UFO, and I did a reading for this. I didn't publish it just because I just didn't like the way it came off. But let me show you this again. Second. So it was this UFO, UAP, this one. These are renderings I did using chat, but it was in this video. That people pointed out that it resembles what the Nephilim looked like, the 8 wings. And yes, indeed, the reading that I did on it said that they were uh, demonic in some way, maybe Nephilim. Uh, the cards that I got were this was a very powerful leader being of some sort, and then the devil card came up. It was demonic, and I'm speculating here that I think that this is a defeated being. This was after it was flushed out of hiding and forced to flee. Maybe it had a body that it was in, like a physical body, and now what we're seeing here is the spiritual form of it, or its true form, and that it had been somehow chased out of that body and was now, see how it's like meandering, it's like looking for an escape. Maybe it's trying to get out of the containment field that was created around it or something like that. This is a defeated archon. That's what I believe. Um, that's what my card. That's what I got from my cards. It's not a spaceship of some sort. It's actually the the spiritual essence of a demonic being. Yeah. And the reason I was talking about this is because why disclosure now? Now, if the archons were still in control, I would say, if I thought that they were still in control, I would say that they're setting us up to believe that aliens are going to attack and destroy the earth and do it like an alien invasion hoax or something like that. And that's why disclosure is happening now, because they're setting us up to transition to a new enemy, an extraterrestrial enemy, an alien enemy. So this was one of the can't remember. Maybe it was. I don't think it was Dolores Cannon. There was a woman who said she talked to Werner von Braun, the guy who started NASA, and he said that the first enemy was going to be the Nazis, and then it was going to be the communists, and then it was going to be the Arabs, and then after that, the final enemy was going to be extraterrestrials, and that's so they could create these forever wars and keep the wars and the industrial military complex in control. But because of what I just explained, that we have decapitated the archons with the help of the Pleiadians and whoever else, we have been able to exorcise them from the earth. This is why the dome has come down recently. That keeps us from the rest of the galaxies or the galactic lines. So I always look at the positive view. I do believe that disclosure is happening now because the white hats are in control of it. And they're just doing it in the slow drip way because it is going to take a long time for people to accept it. So I'm not going to do cards on that question, Nadio. See, Sam says you probably didn't see my comment about star video. It has the aura colors. I don't see any aura colors. I added aura colors when I did a I used Chat GPT to give color to it because I told the story I saw what looked like a twinkling star. It looked like a diamond. If the diamond was far away and you can't actually see the diamond itself, but you can see the prisms of light that are bouncing off of it, the different colors that you get from a prism. And this was right after my father passed away. I was standing on the balcony. So this was a UAP that I saw. I'll tell the story again. It was maybe a week or two after my father had passed away. And I was standing on the balcony looking to the east. It was the rainy season, and there was a cloud cover probably at about 4,000 or 5,000 feet. And off in the distance, near the horizon, I saw what looked like a star. And just as I saw it, I thought to myself, that can't be a star. The sky's covered in clouds. And then suddenly it accelerated towards me at an incredible rate of speed, and it zipped over my left shoulder and went behind the building behind me and disappeared. Uh, Intuitively, somehow I knew that that was my father in his light body having come to visit. Uh, and if you look at that entity, that's that 8-star shape. It's roughly that shape, but because it's in infrared, you don't see any colors in that. I suspect if it was in color, that you would see dark colors. You would see something dark because I do believe it was an evil spiritual being, a Nephilim, so to speak. Okay, and Sandy, you put the name of somebody you would like to know if how they're taking this mainstream drop of information about extraterrestrials. Jody Brown Johnson. It's funny that your cousin has the same last name, at least maiden name, as my cousin. Isn't that funny? I think think one of my cousins has a child named Jody as well. There's no way we could be related, is there? All right, so I'm going to do this one for Sandy and anybody else. Once again, if you have the name of a loved one or relatives or friend who you've been estranged from because they think you're crazy for believing in extraterrestrials, drop their name in the chat and I'll do a reading on it. Right now, I'm going to do this one for Sandy. See if Jody Brown Johnson. See if how she's reacting to this. Uh-oh, she may be a stubborn one. And it looks like she's doubling down on her skepticism, despite this information coming out. She is not wanting to budge. Let's see. Okay. So she is going kicking and screaming. She's holding on to her beliefs as hard as she can, but she cannot deny she has to resign herself to this new information coming out. All right, so this is another one. Now she's not turning over a totally new leaf like my cousin with the death card, but tens along with death are changes or endings of something. Um, but I believe she's going to internalize it and she's not going to admit it and she's ready to argue against it no matter what. Okay, Sandy? So Jody, she inside, she knows. She thinks that the truth is coming out and she believes it, but she's not going to admit it. And she's ready to argue to the death uh, so that she can remain independent and in her mind uh, thinking for herself, but really she's okay. All right, and that's about it. Now I'm going to be switching over to members only, and I'm going to pull cards on these four uh, races, and I may or may not. Oh, there we got Luana Southern. Thank you for that, Serena. And please, anybody else out there? Another cousin. Huh? Why are cousins such a problem? And that's exactly why you blocked her. Yeah, I'm thinking I should unblock Michael. Mike cousin. That used to be a joke among my friends. My cousin's name was Mike, and I'd say this is Mike, my cousin, or Mike, and then I'd say this is my cousin, and my friend would say, is his last name Uzzin? Mike Uzzin, my cousin. All right, so Luana Sutherland. Let's see. This is Serena Magic's cousin. Let's see how she's handling the. Now remember this is the fact that it's being discussed in mainstream media. Okay. Oh, she's coming up as the Empress. She thinks very highly of herself. Oh, and the Hermit. That's a good sign for her. She may have been doing some independent research herself in the recent past and not happy about what she's finding. Oh, and she's scared. She's scared and she's feeling like her reality is turning upside down, like she's living in some upside down world, uh, some new world that she doesn't recognize. And and it may be very difficult for her, but I do think that eventually Luana is going to follow her own personal research, no matter how it's very disappointing for her to see that this is coming out now in the mainstream news. And I think she's very frightened by it. And so, for that reason, she may not be willing to talk about it. But I do think eventually she's going to come around. All righty. So, if anybody else has any names, if you'd like to take a look, like me to take a look and see how your friends and family are dealing with the fact that alien species are being talked about mainstream media news, drop their name in the chat and I'll pull cards on it. Isn't it funny? I've done three of these, and all three readings have been pretty clear that there's something going on with these people that are seeing this information. Right? I went to the dentist a couple of weeks back. This is the guy who makes my dentures for me, and I was telling him this was, I guess, I got my new denture about 2 years ago. Yeah, when I started earning enough money to get them fixed, and while he would be sitting there working on my denture, I'd be telling him, "Hey, this UFO stuff is happening. It's coming out. You're going to be hearing about it soon. Information is going to be coming out. Aliens are real. Extraterrestrials are real. All this stuff is real. And you watch and see what I say. It's going to be coming out." Well, I went back last week after the government started dropping their information and stuff, and I said, "Hey, what did I tell you? Didn't I tell you this was going to be coming out?" He said, "Yep." Well, he didn't say it that way, but yeah, he's Thai. But anyways, he said, "When I saw that information, I thought about you, Scott." So that's pretty fun. And yeah, she does think very highly of herself. Well, she came up with the Empress. Okay, and I don't see any new names dropped in the chat, so I'm gonna go over and start the members only portion of this broadcast. All right. So I want to thank everybody who's not a member and who listened in on this. Thank you for being here. Um, if and I believe me, I understand that people can't do super chats, okay, especially in today's economy. However, if you want to help me reach my goal of $100, go and watch some of my videos. Just put them on and let them run. And in fact, when the ads come on, if you have ads on your video, if you click on those ads, I get paid even more. So instead of skipping the ads, let the ads run and even click on them and like let their ad run. That pays me more revenue. So you can help me out that way. And if you're watching this in replay, go back and just start watching some of my videos. I got one of Jet with his bat wings on. Okay, so thank you everybody and members and non-members for watching, and hope you enjoyed this. I had fun, um, and I'll talk to the members on the other side in just about 1 minute, starting from now. All right. Okay, we got 1 minute, and as far as me, I hope you can see that I'm feeling great. I know that my blood pressure is not out of control. I got me a mobile blood pressure machine, and I've been checking it, doing great. I got the vertigo under control by doing these Epley maneuvers to turn my head to get the crystals out of my ears, and got lots of energy. I'm feeling I'm over the fact that I was rejected by my peers in the role playing gaming world. Screw those guys. They're all idiots. Anyway, really. And I'll see you guys over in the members only chat in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. See ya.